What's up there, knuckleheads? It's Josh, back with another episode of the Chaos Climb, the series where I try and climb as high as I can in Teamfight Tactics with a randomly generated carry and comp based around that carry. So far, I've done Nunu and Diana carry. I've won each of the first games that I played with those comps, so I've made pretty quick work of those comps. Not really surprising because I am playing in bronze, but it just goes to show that even in these low elos, if you force very strong comps, they can still work as long as you're itemizing correctly and leveling at the appropriate times. Our random carry for today is Aurelion Sol, which means I'm going to be going with an Astral Evoker comp to start off with. Pretty standard comp. I'm just kind of feeling this one out at the beginning. I don't know if it's very strong right now, so I might adjust later on down the line if I don't manage to win this first game. So in the first PvE round, I do manage to collect 2 tiers, which is pretty good. My first Hex Tech shop is not that great, and I don't want to re-roll even though they are gold. So I'm going to go with Clear Mind, kind of on the assumption that I'm going to lose streak early, but since I'm going with an Aurelion Sol carry, I'm really playing more towards the late game, so I want to sack up as much gold and experience early as I can so that I have the gold to level to those higher levels, level 8 and 9, very quickly. And also I don't want to hang on to any 1 or 2 cost units. Those aren't really going to matter for the ASol late game comp. Surprisingly though, I actually don't lose streak. I do manage to pick up a win in the second stage, and that's actually a little bit unfortunate because it knocks me out of being able to get a needlessly large rod on the first carousel. Instead, I'm forced to settle for another recurve bow, which I'm not intending to use for ASol. I'm really more intending to put it on Varus as the secondary carry, just because I'm going to need that utility from his ult. I actually get lucky and I managed to hit on a Varus, and I managed to grab a Mage Nomzi in the next round after the carousel. I am a little bit mad just because if it was a regular game, I would 100% go for Mage Nomzi comp, but he is a good carry to hold items through the mid game until I can get an ASol. Their items don't completely overlap, but they're close enough that I think Nomzi can hold on to them until I can hit ASol and allow me to at least be stable through the mid game. I lose out for the rest of stage 2. I get some pretty shitty items out of the Krugs round, but by the time I get to 3-2, I have about 50 gold banked up, and I'm only 1 spend away from getting to level 6. And my health is not in too terrible a state. Now, in the second Hex Tech shop, I actually make a pretty big mistake. I go for Mage Heart. Instead, I should have gone for Axiom's Arc. I was kind of getting a little ahead of myself. I thought I would be able to get a Mage Hat because I have 2 tiers. I thought if I get a Spat, I can easily make that a Mage ASol, which would have been very powerful to be sure, but you still have to get a spatula, and that's never a guarantee. It was a high risk, high reward gamble. It's not terrible. I think there's a lot of opportunities, especially in the late game in that last dragon shop, to hit a spat, but in this case maybe I could have played it a bit more conservatively. But on the plus side, having Mage Heart means that my Nomzi has gotten a lot stronger, so he's able to carry me through the rest of stage 3. I do manage to get that needlessly large rod off of the third carousel, giving me 1 Archangel staff that I'll be using on ASol, which I keep on Nomzi. Up and down the rest of stage 3, I have a BF sword and a Brawler's Glove after the Wolves stage, and I'm 3rd place in terms of HP to start stage 4, so I'm feeling pretty good here, especially considering that I have a lot of gold that I can use to spend and level up. So I do in fact hit level 8 in the start of stage 4, and in the last augment shop of the game I get unlucky again and they're all silver tier. I go with Celestial Blessing because unfortunately there's just not much good that I get even after re-rolling. Right now I'm sitting on 5 Astral and I have my main carry as Mage Nomzi, and I'm perfectly content to kind of ride this until I can hit level 9. Hopefully hit an ASol along the way and see if maybe I can pull out a win, because I am in a good position health-wise with a comp that's only going to get stronger. I get Infinity Edge and Giant's Lair on Varus. Unfortunately, I didn't feel like I could just keep holding on to AP items in the hopes that I would hit ASol, and I also didn't want to waste the tier in case I did manage to hit a spatula in the Dragon's loot stage. Unfortunately, it's not a Radiant Dragon loot, and since I'm really up against the clock of needing to hit an ASol because this match doesn't count if I don't get at least 1 ASol, I can't really afford to waste a lot of gold just re-rolling trying to hit the ASol on level 8. I'd rather use all that gold, get to 9 as quick as possible, and have the better chance as possible to get the ASol. And at 5-2, I do manage to hit level 9, still without an ASol, which is kind of crazy. It's not until stage 5-5 that I finally come across an ASol, and now the comp is fully locked in. As I said at the start of the series, when it's 4 and 5 cost units, I don't have to go for a 3-star just because that's kind of impossible, or at least it's out of my control whether I can realistically get a 3-star 4 or 5 cost unit. But I got my ASol with 2 Archangels and a Hex Tech Gunblade, so we are ready to roll. So late in stage 5, it's actually only 3 people left. There's me down pretty low in health around 25, another player who's around 25 along with me, and then a guy who hadn't lost a round until I actually played him in stage 5. So my margin for error is pretty slim. I can really only afford to lose maybe one more matchup. But luckily in this time, and I can't believe I didn't mention it, I actually managed to hit a 2-star Zoe before I even managed to hit 1 ASol. So I have a Zoe with Morellonomicon who is insanely powerful, absolutely doing work and cleaning up. And between her immunity ult and Silas Skarner Vlad in the front line, I'm actually managing to keep ASol up a good long while. The guy who is in first place doesn't have any divers, no assassin, no Rengar or anything like that. So it's very hard for him to out DPS me, especially when I have an ASol with 3 items in the back line. I managed to knock out the third guy at 6-1, and at this point the guy who had been dominating the lobby from start to finish has now lost half of his health bar, and I'm on fire. And then on 6-2 I managed to hit a 2-star Aurelion Sol, and oh boy is it over for that guy. He's going a Lagoon comp with a 3-star Zeri and Soam, which is not a bad comp, but really Soam is just going to get outclassed by ASol. All I'm really hoping to do is keep him from hitting a 3-star Soam, and there's really no way he should be able to win this. And unfortunately for him, that's exactly what happened. He doesn't get anywhere close to hitting a 3-star Soam. Aurelion Sol just dominates the rest of the way, and we take another first place finish, our third to start this series. Thanks so much for watching this Knucklehead play. Hit that subscribe button so that you know when the next episode of the Chaos Climb comes out. But before we go, let's spin the wheel one more time and see who we're going to be playing next episode. Later, Knuckleheads.